So you finally got the show
Hmm.
prepared. You've rehearsed as much as you possibly could, with your schedule and everything. Opening night. Tell me about opening night.
Opening night, it was interesting. It's very emotional for me. It's funny because I was driving in and I was playing the soundtrack to Better Days because I'm also the sound designer and the lighting designer. So I'm going through the soundtrack and I heard like our theme song has become the song "Bag of Hammers," and I started to cry. I got so worked up, like, holy crap, this is going to happen tonight. Like at this point, I can't stop this thing. No, it's happening. So I sat up in the booth watching, and we had a whole bunch of really friendly crowds and people. Terry Olson, who's one of the founders of SAC Comedy Lab, was in the audience that night. And I'm up there, and Brittany Wine is our technician, and she's running her cues, and I'm hitting her, and I'm like jumping up and down, going, oh, come on, get that line right, and it was interesting. But once it was finally done, there was like this breath, because it worked. The show worked. It got laughs. We were supposed to get laughs. It generated emotional responses. There were some flubs here and there because it's opening night, but it worked, and it was a big relief, I think, to all of us. And the reviews started coming out right away. And that kind of told us, okay, we have something. We're going to keep doing this. Because it could have been over. It could have been over opening night. That's what I was going. It was like, this could be done. In 60 minutes from now, this show could be over. But it wasn't. And now it's going to keep going. So
I assume the reviews were favorable.
the reviews are very, very, very good. Yeah. Yeah, we got some great critical response from it.
So, with the second episode coming next week, what are you expecting in terms of the shape of what's about to come with this thing? Are you expecting? Well, first of all, did you see much more of like a bigger and bigger turnout as time went on with this?
Yeah. Our hope is, and as writers we have to be very careful about this, but our hope is that we will continue to build an audience. The trick about episodic theater like this is that you can lock your audience in. Because if you haven't seen, and we know this with television, if you didn't see the first season of Lost, you don't want to come into the second season because you will literally be lost. So as writers, what we're trying to do is make sure that we kind of recap for the audience so that if you didn't see episode 1 or 2, you can still come into 3 and see it. We're using some devices, putting some of the show online, that kind of thing, so that people can catch up. And as far as the overall arc goes, we're actually introducing a new character right around episode 5, who will, again, she's like going to be the Ray device of she's going to come in, she's going to be new to the group, so we get to kind of retell the story. There will always be things in there that you might find funny, but they might mean more if you've seen all the episodes. There's always those things for people that have been with us the whole time. But we don't ever want to leave anybody behind. We want people to know that they can come start in on the show anytime.
Well, what is your ultimate goal? What do you want Better Days to become in any sense?
First and foremost, I want it to become a success for SAC. I want it to be a growth experience for the company. I've been with this company for 18 years, and it's bringing this to SAC as kind of my way of sort of giving and saying, let's do something in the hopes that it garners us more attention. It builds our audiences for our improv shows and our scripted shows. I want SAC to be taken more seriously. Sometimes because we're improv, a lot of the theater community goes, oh, they're just doing improv. And we're very successful at what we do, but I want the theater community to go, hey, that's SAC. We should, take them seriously. So that's kind of first and foremost, that's really the goal is the betterment of this company that I love so much. Aside from that, I would love, for somebody to see it and go, hey, why don't we put this on Netflix, or why don't we, give you guys money to make this into something real. I'm always cautious about those big dreams, but I'm a dreamer, so that's, I would love for somebody to pick it up and go, hey, let's do a sitcom in Orlando, Florida. As crazy as that idea would be, but why not?
So, how long ago really quickly, how long ago did you start? Was it about a year ago, you said?
For Better Days specifically? Yeah. Better Days really, really started over the course of the summer. I came back to SAC once Chris and Mike were put into their places of artistic and managing director. And we started to have the conversations loosely over the course of the summer. I got the green light for it really was, I want to say, September, where it was like, yes, we're going to do this. So then it was the scramble. Now, the writings and sort of the history of it go back as far as 10, 11 years ago, where we pulled some of the parts and pieces of it. But my first actual real written scene, that was just for a play. When I wrote it, I was like, I'm going to write a play. But that happened February last year, almost exactly a year ago.
So from that, how has this lived up to your original vision? And if so, how or if not, why not?
I'm always cautious about that. As far as whether or not this has lived up to my original vision, the easy answer is to say yes, it has. It's succeeding in the ways that I wanted it to succeed when I thought of the idea. But I'm very cautious about holding too much onto a vision, and that's sort of the improviser in me, is because I see things one way, and I expect lines to be read a certain way, and I expect actors to move a certain way when I visualize the concept. Reality is once you get in, then the actors' talents take over. And these are wonderful improvisers, and they're all writers themselves. And so lines come up that I didn't write and that Todd didn't write. And the ending of episode 1 that we saw, we realized that we had a rough ending as far as Todd and I, what we had written. So the improvisers created the ending that you see. Like, I can't really take credit for writing that. So when it comes to original vision, I think it's great to have a really strong vision. That's what gets people on board. Once you have everybody on board, then you have to share a group vision. And I think that's what we excel at here at SAC, is that it doesn't become the John Valinez project. It becomes the SAC Comedy Lab project. And I think that really shows through.
So what do you see? What do you think? What's going to happen next? What is the future of Better Days?
So far, the future of Better Days is that we know we have a show, so that's good. Todd and I have written the first 3 episodes. That was the deal from the beginning, was we're going to at least write the first 3. We're going to know where this thing is going. We kind of got excited and actually ended up writing the first 5 episodes. So we kind of have an arc. We know that we're going to explore each character. In episode 1, we kind of explore Todd's character and what his background is. We kind of set him up. In episode 2, we call it the Ray Show, because it's all about Ray. We don't get a lot of backstory on him yet, but you get to know Ray, and then episode 3 we start to understand Jeff, and so we kind of decided, and that's why we have 5 main ensemble characters. So we kind of mapped out the first 5 episodes based on that. As we go, even halfway through episode 1, and it's happening a lot now in rehearsals for episode 2, it's becoming more and more of a collaborative thing. So Todd and I are always kind of cautious to write too far out, because we don't want to lock in any ideas. We want to keep building and go, oh man, that funny thing that Chris did, or this whole thing with Jose the customer, he would never be even considered for anything else up until Jose made it so special, So now we're like, okay, now I want to work with that guy. And Lawrence Collins as Mark the Investor was kind of a one-time shot, but now we're like, hey, what if we bring him back later in an episode, So we're careful to not stick to our guns too much. But we also have some things in mind that I think are going to be really awesome, So
not to use the pun, but you see better days for better days.
I do. That's why the show is called that. It's funny because I forgot to mention that earlier, but I came up with the name Better Days based on the idea that people fight depression and they fight anxiety and they have their pain. And sometimes you think your better days are behind you. And sometimes you're hoping and praying that the better days are here to come. And what you forget is that now is your better days. Like, your better days are happening right now. You just might not be aware of it, So that's how the name of the show actually came about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. That's it.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's it. You're done.
Too painful.
Camera's off? No,
We
good.
are going to cut camera.
All right.
bumping in my diapers.
You know what? I have never cared. I just be like, well, at the other night I was going to
Maybe I should. Can you find a roommate for me?
It takes 5 minutes to type up a Craigslist ad.
My fingers hurt. My whole body hurts. Haven't you seen the ads about depression? Everything hurts when you're depressed. Please just find me a roommate. Just do that for me.
Okay, but get yourself together. It's inventory day.
And what's the deal with his name? Mark. I mean, Mark. What kind of a name is Mark?
Perfectly normal name.
fairly common.
And biblical, too.
But it sucks.
Yeah, that name makes me want to punch little babies in the face.
It is statistically proven that men with the name of Mark are 80% more likely to be punched in the face.
Yeah.
Than men with awesome
Yeah.
names like Todd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, here now, which is great because...
No, then it turns out...
About that.
I think I can make this work.
Yeah.